This channel is supported by TrueFire. TrueFire is an online library of lessons from some of my favourite players. There's thousands of lessons on there. You can use the promo code JNC40 to get 40% off of any of their courses. I don't know if any of you chaps are the same, but for me, I have quite fond memories of the rig that I used to use when I kind of was gigging about a decade ago. And this, yeah, it was sort of just out of university and, you know, starting to play in like an electronic band and stuff. I had this Mesa Boogie Nomad 45. I've still got it. I used to use it in 4 cable method with a Pod HD500x. If you can remember that, I used to use this for the cleans drive tones with the mini amp gizmo, which is this little MIDI switching thing, and yeah, basically just set up presets and stuff so that I could have delay and reverb, and I think compressor and drive maybe in front. But looking back and listening back to it today, I still think this is one of my favorite lead tones that I've ever had out of any of the amps that I've got. You know, I've still got a Mesa Boogie Mark III down here. I've had a Lone Star, I've had a Rockaverb, I've had a Road King, I've had a 2-Rock Jet 35, I've had, you know, tons and tons of amplifiers, and I've got to the point where I really don't even want to sniff another amplifier. But this thing here, I just really love the lead tone, and it kind of, I decided to take the rig downstairs. And I have all of the cables kind of, I used to have it in this like snake kind of formation. I think the MIDI cable is broken. The one major issue with this amp is that it has a parallel effects loop. And so this 4 cable method thing actually doesn't work with it terribly well. So if you have it as sort of like midway or anywhere but max, you get like kind of phasing issues, because it's got both sets of signal, both the dry and the wet at the same time. It's a bit weird. But I was thinking this sounds as good as any other rig that I've tried, really. And these days, what I generally use is the HX Stomp XL Live into the Henriksen Bud. From that into an EV12 speaker, like a little Mesa Boogie cab with an EVM12 200 watt speaker. I think that probably sounds almost as good, maybe just as good. I enjoy that just as much live, but I do think of all of my amp setups that I've ever tried, I think this still would work the best. I'll just show you what's going on here. So, snapshot A is my rhythm, snapshot B, my lead, and snapshot C is my clean. So we'll start with the clean. If I turn this on. chuck on delay. I've got my rhythm here, which is the third channel, the dirty channel. And then, because the Nomad has a setting where you can actually have a solo boost, which you could switch on for any of them actually, so I could program that in. My lead snapshot programs on this boost, which has a separate controller, and then sticks on a delay and some more drive if I want it. Once I've actually got it set up, so it took me a while to figure out that my MIDI lead was broken, it's really quite fun. I don't know if you guys have tried this 4-cable method thing, have got good results out of it or not. I was thinking it was sounding a bit weird until I turned the loop all the way up, so it was 100% wet or whatever. Again, that's like a bit of a bug of the Nomad, where you've got a parallel effects loop, which is not necessarily ideal. But in general, there's one amp that I could keep out of all of them. I do still keep coming back to that lead channel and thinking, well, that just sounds like I want my lead channel to sound, basically, right? Although it's quite dark at the moment, I could get in there and dial it in differently if I wanted to. Obviously, you're just hearing it through this mic here and the mic placement, but in the room it sounds just, you know, like I guess you generally hear me sounding. There's no pedals going in front or anything at the moment. I imagine that I could goose that drive channel a bit more and get some even better results out of it, but it just feels really chewy to play, which is a thing that I like, and has gobs of sustain. That's the thing people say in it. So there is a little bit of kind of regret in some ways that I spent so much time and money, although, you know, most of the things that I bought secondhand, I've just sold them on for what I paid for them anyway. Going down this route of trying out loads and loads of different gear, when in reality I could have kind of stuck with this Mesa Boogie Nomad from when I was first gigging, and generally had just as good a time as anything else that I've tried since, whether it's expensive or cheap. Yeah, I don't know. I bought this second hand in about 2005, I think it was, and I've not really had to replace the tubes since then. The reverb no longer works, although the reverb on it was kind of crap anyway, so it's not really a big loss. But other than that, it's just, I don't know, a really underrated amp, I think. And I think there might be something to be said for your first like proper rig. I know I can remember people telling me, you know, they used to gig with a Mesa Boogie Mark IV and they sort of regret selling it. I don't know if you feel the same, if you've had like a rig that was your dream rig, or like you didn't think it was your dream rig at the time, but looking back, maybe you look back favourably on it. I don't know. That was just a little ode to the Nomad. Catch you in another video soon.